Bonjour, welcome to Miss Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking. I'm your host, Miss Lucy, and today Lucy and I are in waterproof Louisiana at Highland Plantation, and we're picking beautiful Louisiana peaches. Then we're going to the kitchen and fixing that gorgeous and delicious peach cobbler. So you stay with us, chef. We'll be right back. Let's get to picking, Lucy.
The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world, and Louisiana's main ingredient, seafood. We put the same thing into our music that we put into our gumbo, everything. A Louisiana tour guide is available at www.louisianatravel.com. Louisiana crawfish, an appetizing natural resource.
Years ago, I began collecting recipes. Some were my own, others were my mama's and grandma's, stored away and almost forgotten. Imagine my delight recently at finding this treasure from my past. How precious. Now, I share these recipes and memories with my children and granddaughter. Just another part of my heritage. And Miss Lucy's Classic Cajun Culture and Cooking. I'm so glad you could join me today because I have some great dishes to cook and a wonderful, delicious dessert to prepare with these gorgeous Louisiana peaches. First, let's go to waterproof Louisiana, where we will see how Lucy and I picked these peaches. Can't get any prettier than this gorgeous Louisiana peach. And none any tastier either. These peaches are hand-picked as they ripen every morning. Not an easy job. They must be twisted off the branch very carefully. Mr. Miller, Lucy, and I take a stroll down Peach Alley while Lucy enjoys a juicy peach. They are boxed in the field. Next, they are brought to the grading shed. There they are separated by size and boxed accordingly, and ready to be sent to market. And what a busy day at the market it was. Many beautiful peaches were bagged and sold to anxious customers, worthwhile waiting for. Before I fix my wonderful peach dessert, I'm going to show you what I would serve as a main course. So let's start with our Cornish hen. Of course, I'm going to put this in some hot oil, and I see that the onions are telling me that my oil is hot enough to start frying this, because you want your oil to be very hot. Okay, this is a Cornish hen. Of course, you can use a small fryer. Now, I rinsed it real well, and I'm going to throw it into my pot of hot oil and start frying it. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of women love for their husbands to fry turkey, but you know, you have to do that outside. And it's not often that you have access to a man with a great big frying pot of oil outdoors. So I've decided, well, if you can do that outside, you can do a smaller version of it inside the kitchen. So I've decided that I was going to try this, and it worked beautifully. Of course, you use your Cornish hen, which is a baby chicken, and or a small fryer, because you don't want to have a large bird because it would take too long to fry. Now, this here will fry for about 7-8 minutes according to the size, because it doesn't take long, and it's so easy and it's delicious. Now, you do not season your Cornish hen or your fryer before you fry it, and I'll show you how that's going to be done in a minute if its time element permits. And when this is going to be done, that little Cornish hen will float to the top, and it will be just a beautiful golden brown. So just like your big turkeys that you fry on very special occasions, you can fix this for your family most any time, any day, you know? It's just real good. So, I mean, you know, you can serve it with anything that you want to. But now, the way I started using the little Cornish hens was when, I guess I had been married several years, because we didn't have Cornish hens on the farm. We had chickens. And of course, Mama would go out in the yard and get the chickens. And we usually had fried chickens. In those days, we didn't fry turkeys or chickens whole. But since I have learned how to do this, it's just a wonderful way to fix it. And Terry, a friend of mine, was working at home, and I had fixed this for him one day. And he went home and he says, Mama, I don't know what Miss Lucy had, but it was a baby chicken. And she said, well, Terry, what is a baby chicken? He said, I don't know, but it's a small version of a chicken. And I said, yes, that's exactly what it is, because these Cornish hens are very young chickens. But I see this is frying real well. Oh, look at that, how it's turning golden brown already. Let me flip it over. Very good. Now, it's so quick and easy, and it's just wonderful. I love to cook chicken because it's very, very good for your diet. But now this is in oil, and you know how us Cajuns, we like to fry. So this really, of course, when you fry it real hot and fast, it doesn't absorb a lot of the oil. So it will be crispy, and well, it'll be like fried chicken without the coating on it, but it's real tasty. So I'm keeping on frying this. And, look at this. See how the onion's floating on top of the chicken. That's okay. And these onions really keep the oil from burning, so you want to make sure you have enough onions in there. 2 reasons is that it tells you when your oil is ready, and then the second reason is when it will keep the grease from burning. And you don't want to use too much of, you don't want to fry too many in one pot, because your oil really has a tendency to get dark on you. And this is how, oh, it's so pretty. Oh, wow, yes. Now, very good. I think, you know what? I think this chicken is done. It was a very small one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it out. Okay, kind of let it drip. Look at that golden brown. Turn my fire off. And like I told you, I'm going to season it now, because this will add to the crispiness of the skin, and it'll make it so tasty. Ooh, that's quite a bit of, all right, flip it over and do the frying on this side, and your skin is just so crispy, and it's a wonderful flavor. So now that I've got this completed, I'm going to go on to my casserole. Now I'm going to fix a very unusual side dish, Tator Tot Casserole. Of course, first what I have to do is melt my butter into the skillet. So, Butter's already melted. Make sure it's nice and coated the bottom of the pot. To that, I'm going to just add some sliced smoked sausage. You just brown this all in here, saute it in your pot here, because this is going to give it a very good zesty flavor. Yes, you can use the hot sausage. Matter of fact, if you want to, you could probably use turkey sausage with this. It would be just the same. Of course, I like to use the pork or the beef, and that's your preference. You can always, because Cajun cooking is pretty much that according to your taste. Now to this, I'm going to add some onions, which I have chopped up. Okay, we're going to add onions, the Trinity I call it. Bell pepper, and celery, last but not least. Okay, mix all this together, and smelling good already. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. All right, this is all going good. This is so unusual for me to fix this dish, but my sister-in-law, Susie, who married my brother, said, Lucy, have you ever eaten this tater tot casserole? And I said, never heard of it. I mean, I eat fried tater tots, but not in a casserole. So she said, you ought to try this. So I did, and it is just fantastic. It's very, very good, and so easy. Most of Cajun cooking is easy. The hardest thing is the cleanup. Of course, you know, all cooks have to do their own cleanup. That's the difference between a chef and a cook. All right, so this has been sauteed long enough, because you don't want to overdo them, because you know you'll be baking this, because this is a casserole. Okay, this is your cream of chicken soup that you add to this, and cream of mushroom soup. Very good. Of course, I'm not measuring today. You know, that's how Cajuns cook too. They just cook by eye or smell and feel. So this is how I do it, but of course the recipe's in my cookbook. Man. All right, blend all this together real good. Now let me lower my fire. Okay. And, man, those soups are just giving it such a good smell. Now, to this, I'm going to add some shredded cheese. I use the shredded sharp, or whichever cheese that you prefer. This is the cheddar cheese that I use, sharp cheddar. Again, according to your preference, depends how much cheese you want in here. Very good. Okay, now, this will be a layered casserole. Of course, I told you we'd use tater tots in this. So what you do, you use the frozen tater tots, and you just throw them on the bottom of your casserole, just you don't have to arrange them anyway, just throw them in. That's how Cajuns cook. They throw everything in. Now you take your already prepared other layer, and you add it to your casserole. There you go. Make another layer. This is going to be so tasty. I can just taste it with that Cornish hen. Okay, and you take your other tater tots. Well, I'll use my hands, you know. That's very good. Okay. And you add your other layer of mixed stuff. Very good. You keep on adding it as big as your dish is. Of course, you make it just as high as you want it. Then you top this with tater tots. Top it with tater tots. And now I'm going to bake this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. Of course, you want all that to be real nice and crispy on top. Okay, and while that bakes, I'm going to fix that wonderful peachy dessert I promised you.
Mama, what are we having for dessert today?
Well, what would you like today?
Peach cobbler sounds good to me.
All right, with these wonderful Louisiana peaches, I think you got the right idea, girl. But listen, I'm running a little behind with my meal, so do you think you could help me? If you have a minute off of your horseback riding, I'd appreciate the help.
I'd love to.
All right. Well, I tell you what, I haven't put my bottom crust in here. If you would put that in, and then while I'm mixing the filling, you can just go ahead and do the stripping for the top.
Okay.
How's that? Okay? Very good. Well, here I am. I've got my peaches. Of course, I have used frozen peaches today from the grocery store. You can use the canned peaches if you wish. And Lucy, where else can you get peaches?
Well, you can get them right off the tree if you want to, just like I did at Mr. Miller's.
Oh, that's right. Was it juicy? And I ate my share of them too. So first, what I'm going to do for the filling is I'm going to add my sugar here. Okay. And my flour. Okay. And to this dry ingredient, you're going to add some nutmeg. Oh, I don't know if I have enough. I like nutmeg. It always enhances the flavor of everything. Let me go ahead and use my little space gadget. You know, I love gadgets, and I guess I'll have to wheel all these to Lucy. So, all right. Now, this is really, that nutmeg smells so good, and that fresh nutmeg is always better. Let me just go ahead and pour all this, okay? Then I'm going to mix my peaches real well. You want to make sure that they're well coated. Oh, Lucy, you did so well. Well, that's good. You're really doing good there with your strips. I'm soon going to be ready to pour this in there. So, look at that. Isn't this beautiful? Almost looks good like this without even cooking it. Yeah, some people don't use pie crust for cobblers, but I like to use just a regular pie shell. So, all right, this is mixed up pretty good. Oh, yeah, well, not quite. Okay. So, well, Lucy, I'm about ready to throw this in the shell. So, you ready for me?
Okay.
Very good. All righty. Okay, I'm just going to add this here. Oh, well, you know, all good cooks are messy cooks. So, oh, man, look at this. What you think you'll do with that, huh? You going to enjoy it? Mm-hmm. And I know I will. 'Cause I love peach cobbler. Very good. Okay. Now, okay, while you go ahead and add your strips to that, I'm going to be mixing some sugar and water, okay?
Why do you do that, Mama?
Well, you know, Lucy, when you bake a pie crust, you want it to be a golden brown. So what I do, I just mix an equal amount of sugar and water. And you see how well, it's kind of like it's really just a good mixture of it.
Well, I guess you're the expert.
Oh, thank you for that vote of confidence, Lucy. Good job. So, okay. Well, let me give you a hand here, okay? Because you just want to throw your strips in there. Thank you for helping. Okay. Good job. Very good. Oh, she's the expert on this, I think, not me. All right, Lucy. Good. Well, do you want to go ahead and do the sugar and water?
Okay.
Very good. Yes. We're going to add this to the topping, and then when we bake it in the oven at 350 or 375 for an hour, it's going to come out of there just a golden brown. And it'll look so good and make it kind of crusty and crispy. So, but you know what's going to be the hardest thing about this, Lucy?
To wait till it's done.
I know that'll be the hardest, but you know, we've got all our other recipes pulled together. So now we're going to view all that together while this bakes, okay?
Okay.
Very good. Now we've got a scrumptious meal fixed. Of course, these gorgeous little Cornish hens just look so good. I can't wait to really enjoy them. And I think my cameraman had the same idea because they look mighty hungry as I was frying that first one. So I went ahead and fried another one for them because I know they're going to enjoy them. And then I prepared this, well, I want to call it a Cajun Tator Tot Casserole because my sister-in-law introduced me to it. And of course, I had never cooked this before, and my mama definitely would have not had tater tots in a casserole because we didn't have tater tots when I was growing up. We just had fried potatoes. But since, you know, new modern technology, you have tater tots, and I used the tater tots in this casserole, even though it's not Cajun. My sister-in-law told me to do this, and so I just call it a Cajun tater tot casserole. And then with this gorgeous fruit salad, it just goes so good with this meal. But my mother-in-law is the one that gave me this recipe, and she always, at the age of 95, she is always in charge of the fruit salad for special occasions, and she does that beautifully. Of course, she has added the fresh peaches to her salad recipe now. And what I did, I thought this was such a special salad that I used a special dish, which was my mama's, the Prussian blue dish that she always put her fruit salad in whenever she had a special occasion and made a special salad. So this is my mother-in-law's recipe for the fruit salad and my mom's special dish that she always used. And of course, last but not least is Lucy and my wonderful peach cobbler. And I know Lucy can't wait to eat this, so she's done a beautiful job, and I know it's going to be as good as it looks. And these, of course, are just a few dishes that you can prepare with Louisiana products, including those wonderful, luscious, and delicious Louisiana peaches. Well, after fixing that delicious peach cobbler, I have a very special email from Janelle Ezemak. Janelle says, I have to say that as much as I enjoy your show, my 2-year-old son loves it even more. Whenever the introduction of your show starts, within 5 seconds he is glued to the television and doesn't move until it goes off. I have even had to record several episodes because he will cry when it goes off. Sometimes I will have to play it at night for him and watch him until he finally relaxes enough to go to sleep. I must also add that he doesn't like any other cooking shows on TV, so it must be just you that he likes so much. Thanks for the great show, Janelle. And thank you, Janelle, for sharing this special letter with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again, Shap.
Evangeline Évangeline, toujours ici, ton noble nom, dans le vallon, sur la colline, et nous répond, Évangeline, Évangeline.
Oh, V, you didn't do that. Well, we're going to look at the sun from outside Noah Land. We're gonna do it again. I'm gonna fall.
The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world, and Louisiana's main ingredient? Seafood. We put the same thing into our music that we put into our gumbo. Everything. A Louisiana tour guide is available at www.louisianatravel.com. Louisiana crawfish, an appetizing natural resource.